All right, all right. Welcome back to Relationships Unfiltered. Today, I'm going to be talking about men. What do you do to inspire your woman? And I'm going to break down a few things relative to that I feel that are important components to a man's ability, potential to inspire his woman, and what he should be doing to inspire his woman. Now, all of you out there, you can have your own list of what you believe are necessary things for a man, rather, to inspire his woman. And there's lots that can be applied to that. What I'm about to say isn't anything new, certainly, but it's a refresher for the men out there to understand why it's important to be an inspiration to your woman. As a man, to reinvigorate your own manhood and masculinity and so forth, with the dynamic of the relationship you have with your woman. Now, let me jump right into it. So the first thing that I would look at with regard to a key component of inspiration to your woman should come through her own spiritual essence of who she is. And that's sort of taking her where she's at. Now, the one thing that comes into inspiring a woman is understanding her, understanding what you have to work with. If she's at a place where she's already have a strong understanding of who she is, then there isn't much work to be done to inspire her. If she's already a self-inspired type of person, a person who has purpose-driven intent. But if she lacks that, then it's going to take a little bit more work for you to get her there. And that's coming into play. And that's the quality of women. Now, the modern women today, and ladies don't hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say it, is that the batch of women that we have out here today, the modern women, many of them, I'm not saying all of them, but there's a few, they're just not good. Let me just say, good in terms of quality of good for what's necessary in a relationship, okay? Don't forget that part. Good in what is necessary to be good in terms of quality for a relationship. And that goes for men too, but I'm talking about men being able to inspire women right now. And so the thing that needs to be thought about with respect to that is, what does the man have with the woman that he can inspire her to her highest, greater self? And that is, in essence, her spiritual essence of being. If you want to tag in religion and so forth too, you can do that if you want, but I'm just speaking about her spiritual essence of being, so that she has a higher divinity purpose in herself. Simple as that. But that's going to require for the man to have that himself. He's going to have those traits, those qualities within himself first to match that up to the woman, because he can't lead or instruct her or give her anything if he doesn't have it. So he has to be well grounded within himself. And we know there's a lot of men who do not have that. So that building piece have to start with what the man understands of himself first. All of this stuff starts with the man understanding himself first. This is why we're talking about a capable man, a man who is suited and booted to be able to inspire his woman. And if that man has those tools already, then he's good to go and face to go to about doing that. Okay. Just to put that out there like that. So first thing is knowing what the man has with the woman that he's going to be dealing with. But second to that, in terms of these traits and qualities I'm talking about that are essential for inspiring the woman, starts with her spiritual essence of who she is. What can you do to inspire that greater essence of her divinity, her purpose of self, first and foremost? How she can see herself in her own womanhood, her own potential as a wifey, as a mother, and so forth. Now, next to that would be the psychological, intellectual of the mind space. So mentally, we're talking about how she is and what she thinks about, what she sees, what she reads, what she's intaking and consuming on a mental level. And that should be something that's nurturing to her, okay? So you got to instill those things within her, inspire her with those things, so that she is, again, thinking, seeing, reading, consuming, digesting things that will be inspirational to her on that mental level to keep her on her purpose. That means not all the garbage stuff that's out there in the social media spaces, okay? Because if she is all in the garbage can with all of the riffraff and all the stuff that's Jerry Springer, 5.0, then you got a big work on your hands trying to get that woman inspired, because to try to bring knowledge of self is going to take a lot to get her to understand who she should be and her womanhood. Now, that could also come by role modeling to let her see other women, inspirational women, okay? Not just a woman that you like or looking at to try to throw that in her face that way, but a woman of high regard, of high standard. Let's say you're talking about a Coretta Scott King or somebody like that, that's the point that I'm saying. Someone for whom she could respect. It could be her mother, it can be a friend, a relative, or whoever it is. That's the component to which the mental part, the psychological part, which is very critical, okay? Because a lot of folks out here are dealing with mental health stuff and all that, and that's a whole nother can of worms to deal with. But, if she has her faculties in a good order, then you have a lot to work with on that as far as getting her there. And like I said, if she's already there, then there you go. It's one less thing to be having to factor in. But at the same time, even if she's there, you need to match up yourself within that as a man. You know what I'm saying? So then let me get to the third one, which deals with the physical. Now, in the physical, there's a couple of things that go into that as well, too. First off, let's just talk about the aesthetics of what she's looking like. Because again, if she's a baddie when you met her and you saw her that way and you want to keep her that way, then you have to do your job. Now, when I talk to men, I always state when they're complaining about their woman and how much weight did she gain and this and that and the other, what I go back to with the men out there, that's on you. That's on you as a man to make sure that if you found her that way, then it's your job to maintain her that way. That means that both of y'all have to get off the couch. That means you need to take her out, encourage her, inspire her in what you can see in her that you knew of her to get her back there. Now, we know a lot of women, especially after they have babies and so forth, it's a tough challenge to get them back weight-wise within that. And a man should never put in some negative stuff into her about her weight. Always encouraging her. Again, we're talking about inspiring her. And even if she is a little more heavy than what she was, she still is a person. She still has value. And if that's where you want her to go, then that needs to be a strong conversation, okay? A connecting conversation, an encouraging, inspiring conversation that you need to have with her. Hey, baby, I want to see you looking real good, and I'm going to be looking good. So let's just go to the gym together. Let's go for a walk. Let's do that and establish that as a part of your routine, okay? To get out and do something together. And that can be fun. And that's a part of the things I'm going to talk about when I tell you the 5 things that women do to deny men their needs coming up. So stay tuned on that. The man needs, like I said, he needs to be encouraging her, inspiring her on that physical level if he wants that. That's one part of it. The same thing comes with clothing and fashion and so forth too. The man needs to replicate what he wants out of her, just as I talk about with things that with women, when they're seeking out of, do they reflect what they're seeking in a man in terms of, if the man, they were looking for a guy with money, then do they have money kind of stuff. So same thing for the man. You want her to be a baddie, then you need to step up and you need to be a male baddie. I don't know what they call the term on that stuff, but anyhow, you got to take care of yourself too. You need to dress to impress. You need to work out, do stuff reasonably. Okay. I'm not saying you have to go and be, all 24/7 at the gym and all this other stuff. I'm just saying reasonably in good health and shape and all that other stuff, not to where you just totally have just fell off the cliff in your health, which is very important. Now, another couple things, because then there's a couple things we're talking about here, is, like I said, health is wealth. So again, what are you putting into your body? What are you eating? So that makes better choices. So again, coming together within that, the man, because a lot of that is centered around what are you eating? Okay. And a woman who truly loves a man and cares for him, she's going to make sure he's eating good, because we understand about the issues with male health in general for everybody, but men with health, and how men tend to not go to the doctor, not really take a focus to their health as they should. Okay. And so a woman who is conscious and really loves her man in such a way will make sure he's eating good and healthy good, not just eating garbage, fast food stuff, and all this and that and everything with respect to that. So the man that's inspiring her to give him good food is doing a job well done, if she can understand that. And again, if he's already there within that to share that with her, then that's another positive off the top. If he's trying to change it from going from bad to good, then that's a conversation to be had and discussed, and hopefully the woman is receptive to it. Now, the other thing, again, that comes into the physical stuff is, besides all that, is, again, because we're in this era of a lot of aesthetic fake stuff, fake hair, fake eyelashes, fake whatever, cosmetic surgeries and all this other stuff that they're doing out there, BBLs and all this kind of stuff. And so if you are a man who doesn't care, who likes that or whatever, then help yourself with it. But if you're a man who doesn't so much care for that, and certainly you want your woman trending toward that, then you need to, emphasize to her how you appreciate and value her as she is. She doesn't need all that. And that needs to just be reinforced and to get her to understand how much you really love her and care for her and treat her and all that other stuff. And one of the things, that when I used to coach sports, young girls and stuff, when my daughters were playing sports and all that, that I found coaching girls differently from coaching boys is that girls, generally speaking, have to feel good to play good, while boys have to look good to play good. And so coaching girls, no matter how much you tell them, oh, you look good, you're good doing this and that, if they don't feel it within themselves, then it's a struggle to get them there, to play good in the game and all that kind of stuff. So they have to internally feel it first before whatever it is on the outside. Okay. And that's where a man's job has to be putting some work in to get them to understand, to feel good within themselves. Because if they got all this other stuff, then you sure know what's inside ain't real. Okay. If all this other stuff is just add-on stuff, then what's going to be real about them? Not much. So that's where the work needs to be taking place, is putting some good stuff into them internally. So they love of self, feeling of self, valuing of self, inspiring of self that you're putting into her, and you're reinforcing it with her on the daily, not going into the simp category with it, but, enough in your own style as a man to present that to her so she can have clarity about herself. So let me give you a quick summary of what I just went through, and then I'll land this plane on this and keep it moving to the next one. So as I was saying, in the framework for any man to inspire a woman, he first must have an understanding, a profile to what he has with that woman that he's trying to inspire, okay, encourage, etc. So you got to have that. You got to know what you're working with. Secondly, to that, getting into these three main components: her spiritual essence of who she is in terms of her consciousness and her divinity purpose. So again, by inspiration, you're matching up. You're giving her the tools. You're giving her that understanding of higher self, of purpose driven. How are you frame that to be for her? Okay, so she has clarity, and you're making sure of that. And like I said, if she already is there within, then half your job is done. Then it's just sustaining, maintaining, and all that to where she's at. And then just taking other things, you always can grow. All of us can grow in certain areas. Now, behind that, as I mentioned, was the mental part, the psychological stuff, and the way in which, as a man, it's what she is consuming intellectually. What is she reading? What is she looking at? Get her off the cable shows. Get her off of all of the social media garbage, and get her focus into understanding what is nurturing her intellectual capacities. What are you doing? Are you reading? Okay. And good stuff. Are you taking in good information that's helping you have good, well-nurtured conversations? and discussions and all that other stuff. Listening to her, getting her feedback on certain things and all that other stuff. Okay, it doesn't hurt. And the third piece, again, is the physical part, which deals with how it is that she is feeling toward herself internally. That was the last part of that piece that I mentioned with that, is to have her invigorated in her internal so her external will match up to the internal. Because once she's strong internally, she's not going to be all caught up on trying to be trendy to all the stuff. Like, again, she wants to present herself well, but it doesn't need to go to such extremes as you see a lot of these women out here doing with some of the things that they're doing with themselves. She can still dress well, she can still present herself well, how well she's take care of herself and all these sort of things, the food that I mentioned, and these sort of things, the quality stuff that matters. And there you go. All right, with that, I'm going to stop here and land this plane. I think I've given you a few good nuggets of stuff as it relates to how a man can inspire his woman, what he should be doing, what he should be focused to. And let me know in the comment section and any feedback that you have and your list of things that a man can do to inspire his woman that we can just all share here together and learn together and grow together. Positive and constructive. That's what it's all about. All right, until the next time, appreciate you joining in on Relationships Unfiltered. I'm your host here, Rashad Bakir, and we'll see you back next time. Thanks so much.